Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm your host, Rising Oblivion, and welcome back to another video. So, I know we're in the new year now, and it's kind of time to let go of things from 2020, but I figured I'd make one last video talking about some stuff from 2020, but this is something that's pretty good. So, before the year quite ended, Persona 4 Golden had won multiple awards on Steam, and I thought, you know what, it'd be a pretty cool idea to just talk about this and go over what exactly Persona 4 Golden won. I mean, it's pretty strange how old this game is, yet somehow it's staying super relevant when it's coming to PC and it's on other platforms. It sort of amazes me how much, people really wanted this port and how many people really fought for it, and how it ended up becoming one of the best sellers on Steam, which is one of the rewards it ended up getting. So let's go over that real quick. So we have the top sellers on Steam, and it says it tracked the top 100 earnings from January 1st, 2020 to December 18th, 2020. Even though this game came out in June, halfway through, it ended up making it onto the top seller rewards for the year 2020. So in terms of total revenue, the game sales and DLC, Persona 4 Golden received a bronze reward, which meant that Persona 4 Golden ranked somewhere between the 41st to 100 top selling games of 2020 on Steam. So it was somewhere around the 41st to 100 top selling games the whole year, even though it came out in June. So imagine what would have happened if this game actually came out earlier in the year. It might have made it, to like top 20, top 10, which is very interesting to think about, in terms of what we're going to be seeing with other stuff like, possible SMT games and other ports coming to Steam as well. Are those going to be top sellers next year on Steam as well? Possibly being, the most sold games on Steam for next year, or I guess technically this year, 2021. We might end up seeing other games like this reach top records as well and make it to being, the most sold games of the year. So we're gonna have to keep our eyes peeled on that and see what all releases on Steam this year. But that is not all the rewards that Persona 4 Golden had won. There is another one that they have won as well. So tracked within the list are the top 100 games that players used controller of any kind to play the most instead of going to the mouse and keyboard. Persona 4 Golden had released a Platinum award in this category, which means that between the first and 12th most played games on Steam with a controller in 2020. So it had reached somewhere from 12th to 1st place when it actually came to being played with a controller, which I think is pretty funny. So Sega recently reaffirmed that they would like to release more in the back catalog of Atlus's games as remasters and remakes due to the success of Persona 4 Golden on Steam. So it is one of the most played games on Steam last year that had been played on a controller. So you could argue that maybe a lot of people had PCs that were Persona fans, but they really weren't PC players. So possibly a lot of them thought, well, you know what, I played this game with a controller and it has the compatibility to do so because of Steam. So a lot of them did play it on controller because a lot of them either played it on Vita, which has a controller layout, or they played it on the classic, backwards compatibility part of the PS3, or they actually played it on PS2, the original version of the game. So a lot of people might have wanted it to do it that way. But I think a lot of us also saw how kind of clanky the keyboard and mouse controls were, so they decided to do something where they could actually have, a little bit more control with the characters and stuff like that. I did play on keyboard and mouse, didn't mind it too much, but it definitely feels like this game is meant to have a controller sort of compatibility with it, because it's a little bit harder to actually run around the city and do a lot of things whenever the game doesn't feel like it's supposed to be, just in 4 different directions. It does feel like it's supposed to have like an analog sort of feel to it. But with that said, it still isn't that bad on keyboard and mouse. So this really goes to show just how good the game can be, even with how old it is. It's able to win awards for the most sales, even though it only released halfway through the year of 2020, which kind of is insane. It has a reward for the controllers. It's super interesting to think about when it comes to the success of the Persona series and how old this game is. This is a PS2 game winning the 2020 Steam Awards for the most sold game. Yes, a PS2 game. I don't know if that's ever been done in history. To be completely honest with you, I don't know if that's ever been done before, ever. I mean, think about it. Has there ever been a PS2 game that's made its way all the way through to Steam and then won like the most sold game of the year? At least among the 41st to first, most sold game. It got a bronze award, so it had to have been somewhere in there. And then to being the most preferred games on controller, that just kind of shows how many people really wanted this port, how many people really wanted to play these games. So I don't know if we'll ever see something like this again because of the popularity of Persona 4 Golden. Like I said, seeing more games like Persona 5 and stuff like that come to Steam might break those records and might become something that's even, bigger than Persona 4 Golden in terms of sales for 2021. If we see something like that from the Persona 5, side of things, possibly we could see something like that. But Shin Megami Tensei, the older Persona games, I'm not 100% sure whether or not they will break sales like Persona 4 Golden did, just because of how beloved, Persona 4 Golden was. It's such a big, beloved game that I think a lot of gamers back then really, really knew about the game. They pushed for it, they wanted it because of how just important that game was to them. And a lot of the Persona 5 players were like, well, I played Persona 5, I played Royal, where do I go now? Oh, I just go back a number. I think a lot of them were also doing that. Persona 4 Golden was the first game that I really touched on, that I really started to see, so that's why I wanted to play it like this. Even if they don't win rewards, even if they don't get the best sales, I want the games ported because I'm a person who just wants to be able to play them. I want to be able to have that compatibility with either PC, console, something like that. So the chances of us seeing more things on console are probably more likely, but the chance of us seeing more things on Steam are definitely there, guys. It's definitely something we're going to be seeing. Strikers are releasing on other stuff. We're getting it also on PC, which I think because of the sales of Persona 4 Golden and what the records had shown at the end of the year might have been one of the giant pushing points for them trying to port Persona 5 Strikers onto Steam. It had to have been one of the bigger points, and I'm happy for that. I want to be able to play Persona 4 Golden on Steam because it was such a hard way for me. I had to buy it on the PS3, play it backwards compatibility. It wasn't really in HD. It looked kind of bad. I had played it on an HD TV, but I had to do backwards compatibility, so it doesn't really look good. When you take a game that's not technically HD and you put it on an HD TV, it ends up looking really bad. It's kind of hard to play. That and Golden wasn't actually able what I was playing. I was playing the regular Persona 4. You couldn't get Golden unless you had a Vita, so man, these remasters honestly are probably the best thing that we can be getting so far, and the ports to Steam. I just hope a lot of the console players can also see these things get ported to console, because I know a lot of you guys were like, I don't really have a PC, or I have a crappy laptop, it doesn't really work, can't run the game that well, and honestly, I feel you guys, so hopefully we see stuff like that. Persona 5 Strikers is going to be on Steam as well. I'm going to be reviewing that and talking over that as we get closer to that, and we see more stuff for it as well. So if you want to be kept up to date with everything Atlas, everything Shin Megami Tensei, everything Persona, you name it, man. Final Fantasy, anime games, JRPGs, I'm your dude. I'm here for you. So like, comment, subscribe for more content. As always, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.